Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for another video on the game, and we're currently on the PC build right now, because what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be counting down my top 10 all-time favorite champions that have ever been added to Marvel Contest of Champions. So, let's go ahead and start with a couple of honorable mentions, just some shout-outs here. So, because I'm already seeing some champs that aren't on my list, but, like, they deserve some recognition. So, we're going to do probably, like, 5 of them. So, Doom. You know, I have some great memories using Doom. He definitely doesn't make the top 10 list, but, man, he's awesome. And Doom will always be awesome. Just such incredible power control. I played this guy so much, man. When the Abyss dropped, I beat it in less than a week, the entire thing, and like it was like 3 or 4 days or something, and like just hours and hours and hours of using Doom and watching that special 3, because there was no skip special 3 button. So he'll always have a place in my brain just because of how many times I had to witness his gosh darn special 3. So honorable mention to Doom, honorable mention to freaking Archangel, and to Iceman as well, bro. I remember when those guys came out. They actually came out. It was a triple champ month, which is quite rare today. And Psylocke was a third. It was 3 mutants in 1 month. Can you imagine that in today's game, getting not only 3 champs in 1 month, but 3 of the same class? Like, that is unheard of. I don't think that's ever happened since these 3 came out together, which is pretty interesting. But Psylocke, the most forgettable champ like in the game. But Iceman, the coolest champ in the game, pun intended. And then there's Archangel, who's just like the god. If they can be bled and poisoned, like he's just that guy. So yeah, honorable mention. Since we're in the mutant class, honorable mention to Kitty as well. I had a lot of fun playing her when she like kind of first had come out. I got really lucky and pulled her out as a 6-star, like the week she came out. Or like the first 2 weeks, and then I ranked her up and just went crazy with Kitty for so long. So yeah, definitely honorable mention to Kitty Pride. All right, let's take this off that. There's a couple other champs that caught my attention before. Oh yeah, this guy, Cosmic Ghost Rider. Dude, I still remember when Cosmic Ghost Rider came out. Originally, like testing him CCP before he was even live in game, and he was even stronger than what he is now. Like his armor breaks were more potent, his buffs lasted longer, like especially the precision from the special 2, like that just lasted longer, like way longer. Like dude, he was the most broken champ in the game before he was even released. Then they nerfed him and then released him, and he's still held back as a 6-star to this very day. Because, man, he's just so incredible. I do think Cosmic Ghost Rider is the most badass looking champ in game. If I had to vote one champ for that, it's him, bro. He just looks so immaculate. Like, oh my goodness. Even on PC, man, it's looking even better now. Whoa, his eyes just like flash purple. I never noticed that before. You guys seeing that? Dude, he looks so sick. Oh my god. Like the penance stare or something, dude. Oh, shout out to CGR. And any other honorable mention shout outs I want to give before we get into anything? Oh yeah, Absorbing Man. That's a great one. Absorbing Man somehow didn't make the list. Actually, I think we're gonna make an alteration. All right, so we're starting the list. Number 10 is Absorbing Man. Yeah. And then we'll talk about the champ that would have been in the 10 spot. It's also a Mystic. I think I have to give it to Absorbing Man because I love Absorbing Man, dude. He's so fun and crazy and just like the king of immunities with his forms, and there's some skill asks to play. Plus, Absorbing Man did what very few other champions in the entire game have done for me, and that's made me a vastly greater player, forcing me to learn light intercepting completely. Man, it really took me to the next level. So yeah, like massive thank you to Absorb Man for teaching me, to forcing me to learn how to light intercept well. Because I probably wouldn't have pushed myself to learn if there wasn't a champ that kind of forced that playstyle that I really liked. So yeah, Absorb Man number 10. All right, the champ that was number 10 before is a very forgotten champ of the past. That is Magic. So I guess Magic's at number 11 then. But man, I love Magic, dude. Ah, she's so crazy. I remember getting her. I was in high school. I remember I got her. Was it from Crystal or from Arena? It might have been from Arena. But I remember getting her as a 4-star. I remember walking into my high school gym. We had 2 gyms. This was the bigger gym. And I don't know why I remember that so vividly. And I just remember I just pulled Magic, and I talked to my buddy Jeff about it. And like neither of us really knew much. We were both still very new to the game at the time, and like Magic just was not on our radar at the time, you know. And then I think it was the Batista challenge that really highlighted Magic for her power control ability. Because in that quest, you really wanted power control. And I remember doing that, and I didn't use Magic. I don't, maybe did I have it? I don't know. But I remember I used Hawkeye. So this is 2017, man. So long ago. But I remember using like a rank 3 4-star Hawkeye or something, using a special one for power control, when I should have just been using Magic. She is the queen of power control, and probably the biggest reason why she is never going to come out as a 6 or 7-star, as is. Kabam is going to be releasing 7-star Magic through the Radiant store, but they're going to be retuning the kit. So who knows what that's going to look like. But OG Magic, man, ooh, one of the most powerful champs in the game, undoubtedly. Her Limbo, the power control is just phenomenal. Alright, so that was number 10 originally, but then Absorb Man had to take her place. Alright, let's go down to number 9. So, coming in at the number 9 spot, we have Onslaught. So, Onslaught, man, like, what is not to like about this champ? You know, first of all, he's got the drip. I mean, he looks like a beetle from behind, which is honestly pretty sick. But, like, the red, the purple, it just looks really good together. And the fact, like, I didn't even know who this guy was, you know, before he was added to MCOC. Then when I learned, you know, his origin story, and that, you know, he was the Professor X Xavier lashed out at Magneto, rendering him catatonic. The violent psionic act merged Xavier's own suppressed negativity with the fur of Magneto's mind, giving birth to a new and malevolent psychic entity known as Onslaught. Armed with the power of both Professor X and Magneto, Onslaught has no allegiances and seeks only the destruction and subjugation of all before him. Like, that is one heck of an origin story, dude. Like, taking 2 Omega level mutants, taking both their powers. Man, he just... like, seriously, what is not to like about Onslaught? He's so powerful, rightfully so. He's an incredible defender, incredible attacker, super duper high prestige. Like, he looks cool. Like, he just fits the bill of a champion I would just fall in love with, man. And I absolutely did. But, like, he's so loved by everyone. Like, I don't really feel like a special bond to him. Whereas, like, the top 4 champs on this list, like, I feel a very, very close-knit bond to these champions. As weird as that might sound, but it's true. But Onslaught, like, not so much. I just like him. Everyone likes him. What's not to like? Again, that's why he's coming at number 9. Alright, number 8, we actually have the only 2025 champion released on this list. And that is Spider-Woman, dude. Spider-Woman, I have really been falling in love with her. You know, a year from now, she might even crack the top 5. I wouldn't be surprised. So, like, first and foremost, Spider-Man, always been my favorite superhero. As a kid, there was 2 superhero shows that had the biggest impact on me and that I watched the most. It was the 90s Spider-Man cartoon and Batman Beyond. And, you know, fun fact, in Batman Beyond, old man Bruce Wayne, his dog's name was Ace. My dog's name is Ace. That, like, ever since I was a kid, that stuck with me. I'm like, Ace, that's a great name for a dog. But yeah, getting back to Spider-Man, I've always loved Spider-Man. And Spider-Woman, like, I never was never familiar with her. Like, in all the Spider-Man content that I consumed, she was never really in the stories. So she was a largely unknown entity to me. But, like, she's supposed to be, like, a female Spider-Man, and, like, the suit looks awesome. So when I heard she was getting added to, you know, MCOC, I was super, super duper hyped. And, man, like, they crushed it on the look, the suit. It all looks so good. And the number one thing I was hoping for, that I wanted, this is going to sound a little messed up, but I'm going to tell you guys the way it is. The number one thing, that my only hope when Spider-Woman came out, it was just one thing. I had one ask to Kabam. Please, let her be better than Silk. That's literally all I wanted. That was the one and only thing I wanted. Just let her be a better Spider female character than Silk. And oh my god, they delivered, bro. They delivered and then some. Like, oh, Spider-Woman, I would say, is better than Silk as an attacker. Although it's fairly close, I would give the edge to Spider-Woman. Silk has slow, which is super duper nice, but, you know, Spider-Woman has ways to get around some unstoppable shenanigans and evade. And miss. She triggers her own evade. So, you know, she has her own way to get around it, but slow is slow. But, when we turn to the defensive page in the book, it's no contest. No contest. Spider-Woman, man, she, like, I started to really like her for all the reasons I mentioned before. And, like, finally getting to try her out on attack. Like, wow, she's like a more modern Spider-Ham that does way more physical hit damage, you know? Like, it was awesome. She's hitting super hard, hitting like 30k mediums on your Retribution punishes. Like, nutty damage, phenomenal attacker, crazy power stings. Like, you're just deleting champs when they beta special once you apply your power sting. Like, it's awesome. So, like, I loved her for all that. But then I realized she is a monster on defense. Like unrightfully so. Like, it is ridiculous. And so there's multiple things in her kit. And the crazy thing is that, like, she I don't even think she was meant to be a defender. Like, I think she only has like a 3 out of 5 defender rating or something like that. It should be a 4 out of 5. At least. So what makes her so crazy? So she has evade. Very, very potent evade, first of all. So you gotta deal with that. Second of all, she has her ensnare, which essentially turns her into Domino without making you take crit fail damage. But don't worry, you'll still take damage. You'll still take plenty of damage, not to worry. But the ensnare, it reduces ability action by 30%. Like, all your abilities just start to fail. Like, you go for a parry, fail. Like in the last meta especially, like, it was, you'd have to parry their stun immune, then you have to parry again to actually get the stun to stick. But then she'd fail that. So you'd parry, or whatever, you parry again, thinking you're going to stun, already have the heavy preemptively ready, but your parry doesn't stun her, then you get smacked. That happened to me multiple times. Like, oh, the ensnare is just so ridiculous. So the evade, the ensnare. And then, also what she does is, her AI is a little bit like Enchantress at times, where she'll just throw her special 1 into your block and apply severe power sting debuffs, which is a ton of fun. Speaking of debuffs, she applies a bunch of debuffs, and the more debuffs, the higher the chance for her to evade you. And what else does debuffs do? Oh yeah, the Inequity Mastery, which just nerfs your attack rating. So, like, with all that together, wrapped up into one little neat package, that's Spider-Woman, man. Just phenomenal champ. Easily one of the best science champs in game. Easily one of the best champs released in all of 2025. And, yeah, man, she absolutely makes my list. Like, I love Spider-Verse champs so much. Love her suit. And, yeah, like, I want to learn more about her character in the comic books and stuff. And hopefully, like, she gets her own movie. That'd be really cool. I would love to see a Spider-Woman movie. But yeah, man, that is our number 8 spot, Spider-Woman. Honestly, I feel like she could even go higher, as much as I'm hyping her up right now. All right, number 7, we have actually another science champion. Love the science class. That is currently not a 7-star, and that is Scorpion. So, dude, Scorpion is a very interesting one for me. He really started to grow on me at one point. You know, it's not... Sometimes bonds and connections, it doesn't matter how long it's been. Like, you could know someone for a year and you'd be alright friends. You could know someone for a month and become best friends, you know? So, like, when Scorpion came out, he came out alongside Black Cat, who I would say is my favorite female Marvel character. I was really excited for Black Cat to finally get added. People asked me, like, Lagacy, who wants to add to the game? Black Cat was always one of my top answers. So when Black Cat finally got added, like, I was so hyped, and I was focused on her that month, and she was pretty good. But this was also before the Black Widow, this was before relics existed. So Black Cat wasn't nearly as good as she is now with the relic interactions. So, like, I liked Black Cat, but I didn't like her that much. I liked her in, like, Labyrinth of Legends, Red Hulk, but outside of that, like, eh. And then I kind of just ended up ignoring Scorpion because I was so focused on Black Cat. But then a couple months went by, and then I actually gave Scorpion the old college try. I think I finally pulled him, and I gave him a try. And holy crap, I fell in love with this guy, man. He is, I remember, the way I would describe him is he's a freaking Swiss Army knife, dude. He's a Swiss Army knife that you can bring into, like, so many situations and just rely on him. You know, having these selectable immunities. I believe Scorpion was the first ever Rupture immune champ in game, which is pretty cool. Shout out Scorpion. And then Poison and Shock, you know, just some really, really great immunities. And the fact that you can also use this to change your damage type. Again, Scorpion was the only champ in the game when he came out that was Rupture immune. And he could apply Rupture. So when he came out, no champ in the game was immune to his debuffs except for himself. And on defense, you know, his immunities are just defaulted. But, man, like, I remember using Scorpion in Battlegrounds so much, dudes. I remember, like, I would always draft this guy, and he could do, like, just so many matchups, like Killmongers, Korgs in certain metas, like, just doing ridiculous stuff. And the greatest thing about Scorpion is that I would always finish fights with him at full health. And I would always, like, make mistakes, too. I'd get smacked around in, like, the beginning or the middle of the fight, but by the end of the fight, I'm finishing him with full health because this special 2, Petrify, he's siphoning that healing. So, like, man, I have a really special place in my heart for Scorpion, man. I can't wait for him to get added as a 7-star. Hopefully, it's not like they did Torch, you know. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they do, because I think Scorpion is absolutely that caliber of a champion. And the other thing, though, about Scorpion, like, what took me a little while to really come around on him, is that I never liked Scorpion before. You know, like, in all my time watching the Spider-Man movies, the cartoons, you know, everything, Scorpion was always just like a nothing, a one-off character for me. Like, I never cared about Gargan. You know, like, he's got a tail. Okay, whatever. Like, I could not care. Like, Spider-Man had so many more interesting villains to me. You know, my favorite being the Symbiote Saga, Venom, Carnage. Like, oh, that's peak Spider-Man villainy. You know, then there's this guy with the tail. Like, I did not care, bro. But MCOC did this guy more justice than he could have ever asked for. Like, truly. So, man, that's Scorpion coming in at the number 7 spot. All right. One away from cracking the top 5, boys. All right, number 6. My 6th favorite champion of all time. And I have a very special memory attached to this champion. And that is Nicholas Fury. So let me tell you guys about that memory first. So we got to go back in time to... Was it Abyss? I think it was Abyss. Abyss era. I didn't have Nick Fury, even as a 5-star. And, you know, there was no 7 stars at the time. 6 stars was the highest level. But I didn't even have a 5-star Nick Fury, you know, let alone a 6-star Nick Fury. And I wanted him so bad for months. For months, dude. Every crystal opening, come on, Nick Fury. Like, that's all I would talk about. I want Nick Fury. Can I get Nick Fury? In, like, videos and videos and videos for weeks and for months straight. And, you know, I was still living at home at this time. So, you know, my dad would watch my videos. And, you know, he'd hear me talk about Nick Fury all the time, and I'm sure I even talked about it, like, at the dinner table, you know, a couple times, like, oh, I just want to pull this champ Nick Fury, you know, and I just could not do it. And then I was live streaming. I think I had, like, just cleared a path in Abyss or something, or it might have been 100% Abyss. But anyways, I was doing a big rewards opening. I remember I had Brian Grant on call, and then got my dad to come onto the stream and to open a crystal. And there was a very small chance, like Nick Fury was in the crystal. It was probably like 1 in 24 chances or something like that. You know, very low chance. But he was in there. My dad opens one crystal, and boom, out pops a 6-star Nick Fury. And I was personally in disbelief. I had been trying for literally months on end, doing any and everything I could to try to get him. No luck. My dad sits down, opens up one crystal, and gets him. And he's like, "Oh, is that what you wanted?" And he's like, "That was easy." And he's just so nonchalant about it. I'm like, "Do you know how hard I've been trying to do that?" Like, it was incredible, man. It was an incredible moment in the game for the channel. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember that. Papa Leg, shout out. One of my favorite memories playing this game, dude, honestly. So, you know, like, Nick Fury will always just have a special place in my heart just for that memory alone. I just think of my dad when I see him, you know. So, yeah, that's my story, my special memory with Nick. But putting that aside, like, he's such a monster of a champ, dude. Like, I remember when Nick Fury came out, the skill class was so bad. It was just so garbage, so trash. There was nothing good in the skill class, dude. Then Nick Fury came out, and it's like, oh my god, this is the pinnacle of the skill class. Like, is this the caliber of skill champs that we're going to be getting? And then after Nick came out, like, no skill champ ever could even come close to comparing, you know, until we got, like, Kate Bishop. But, like, Nick Fury just saved the skill class, and he immediately became the best skill champ. And he was just so, especially back in the day, like, before Battlegrounds was a thing, and questing was, like, everything, and war, like, Nick Fury was just so good. He's so good for questing, so good for war, such a good defender. He's still a good defender in 2025. Like, when he came out, dude, he was easily one of the best defenders in the game. Like, it was crazy. An absurd bleed, the second life safety net. Like, what is not to like about Nick Fury? He's so crazy. Such a crazy spin on a kit for just supposed to be a human in charge of an intelligence agency. But this life model decoy dude shenanigans is just unfreaking real. It really honestly doesn't make sense. Like, if you really think about it. But who cares? You know, so much stuff in this game doesn't make sense. So, you know, whatever. Logic kind of gets thrown out the window sometimes. But yeah, dude, I love Nick Fury. And when he was announced for the Heart of Fire event, like, that was it. Like, I'm in. You got me, Kabam. I will do what I gotta do to get a 7-star Nick Fury, you know, for everything I mentioned, and especially the memory I have of him with my dad. So, yeah, like, the moment Nick Fury was not 7-star, no-brainer. I had to get him. I had to rank him. Had to max him. Sig 200 all the way. Love this dude. All right, that is Nicholas Fury. All right, now we're cracking into the top freaking 5, dude. All right, coming in at the number 5 spot. This one might be a little bit unexpected, but it's Deathless Thanos. Honestly, I feel like Nick Fury could have went here, but, like, Deathless Thanos, man, I think is just the best thing Kabam has ever done in this game. And that's why Thanos cracks the top 5, because it was guaranteed to get, you know, like, no other champ on this list can you just guaranteed to get at the highest level without money. You know, there is no type of guarantee like that. Unless there's, like, a super special event or something after, like, years and stuff. But I mean, like, right when the champ comes out, you know. And that's what Deathless Thanos, he changed the entire game. You know, we had, like, 1 full year plus of working towards, building towards this final prize of a champion that we, like, kind of thought was going to be Thanos, but weren't, like, 100% sure. Like, Kabam Mike had, like, said, oh yeah, it's probably going to be Thanos or something like that. So, like, we assumed it was going to be Thanos, but then, like, we got the original Deathless champs, and, like, all of them sucked. They were all terrible. You know, Deathless King Groot was alright, and then Deathless She-Hulk was pretty good, but, like, Guillotine first, Deathless Vision second. Like, at that point, it's like, okay, well, these champs suck. Like, is this even going to be worth it? But then, man, oh my, was it ever worth it? Yes. Like, and the other thing is just that Thanos will also, as a character, always have a special place in my heart when it comes to Marvel, because, I mean, Infinity War and Endgame, is also like peak the best thing the MCU ever did, in my opinion. Like, you cannot top Infinity War and Endgame, in my opinion, in my eyes. That is untoppable. Those are the two best MCU movies. That's not going to change unless they do something crazy with like Avengers Doomsday, you know. But for now, like, there's nothing touching those movies for me. It just all the build up, and Thanos was just such an incredible villain. And you know, Thanos was also a villain in this game. I remember when I first started playing the game, I was a reader of the lore. Like, the lore was really getting me into the game. I'm like, I'm playing this game, and it's like I'm reading a comic book, or like it's like a movie game. Like, it's awesome. And I read all the dialogue in the first few acts, so like I knew what was going on. Like, first I had to deal with Kang, and then I finally got through Kang, and then oh no, then you have to take on Thanos, the Mad Titan, and then like eventually, it was for Act 5. I did a Legends run, and I got it, and the prize was a 4-star Thanos. I remember I awakened, I ranked him up, and that video did super well, taking up this trophy champ of Thanos. That was garbage, you know, he was a trash champ, but it's cool to have him. And like, ever since I got him as a trophy champ for that Act 5 Legends run, I always wanted him to get a buff. Like, I'm like, it's Thanos, like, why is he trash? Like, he's an Avenger level threat. Like, why is he so bad? And I had always wanted Thanos to get buffed, and that's probably, you know, maybe never gonna happen. Maybe one day, but it still has yet to happen. After 10 freaking years of the game, Thanos still sucks. But then they gave us this monster, and that makes everything okay to me. You know, that makes all the poopy Thanoses in game fine. Like, whatever. We got Deathless Thanos now, and he looks, I mean, regular Thanos, bro, looks incredible. Like, let's compare the models real quick. I can't lie. Regular Thanos, like the purple, the gold, the blue armor, like, this is just classic Thanos, and it looks so good. It looks amazing, for sure. But the Deathless version, man, the Deathless version means business. And I love that he has the gauntlet. You know, the Infinity Gauntlet, but it's not just like the regular old Infinity Gauntlet that we're all used to. No, this is a battle, an Infinity Gauntlet forged within the battle realm, with the power of the ISO. I believe those gems, like, that's how they were made. Does it tell us about it? In past years, champions from the Death Realm staged an assault on the battle realm. They were led by a twisted simulacrum. What? That's a word. Of the Mad Titan, who distilled from the unique energies of this pocket universe 6 new Infinity Stones to spread discord and destruction. Now he has returned to lead his Deathless Elite in a campaign of terror against the contest and its meager defenders. Who distilled from the unique energies of this pocket universe. The pocket universe, as in the battle realm? I think, yes. Yeah, so like the stones were forged in the battle realm by the power of the ISO. Of ISO, I'm pretty sure. So like that just ties into the Marvel lore into the game even better, you know. And he's just so good. He was my first ever 7-star rank 4 champion. And I 1,000,000% stand by that choice. The #1 best choice. There was no better choice than Thanos for rank 4 for me. And you know, he's just such a monster on offense. And then, you know, my hope was that he was going to also be a monster on defense. And when I first read the kit, I was unsure. But, man, he's disgusting on defense. He's not really the most punishing, but he's a ridiculous stall option. You know, you have to respect the stall. And if you do slip up, and he crits, especially, you're going to take some damage. Or if you slip up to special 2, you know, it's so easy for him to go to special 2 as well because of the energize that he just always has. It's, man, like, Deathless Thanos is way overtuned, for sure, compared to regular release champs. But it's fine, because, again, it took us a full year to get this guy. So, yeah, I truly think Deathless Thanos is the best thing Kabam has ever done. Not just as, like, a champion, but just as the whole Deathless thing, leading to him being the endgame final goal. And, you know, we got, like, the Deathless Karina challenges as well, to go back into Necropolis with him and the full Deathless team. Like, that was so much fun. That was so much fun. The idol chase, I don't know. I gotta see how it shakes out. But like the Deathless chase, just I think my favorite thing Kabam has ever done. All right. Now we are getting to number 4. So, we have yet again another science champion, and that is Human Torch. So, me and Human Torch have a very special bond stemming back to when he first came out. So I remember when he first came out, I was testing him, and I thought he was pretty good. But a lot of my fellow CCP members at the time did not share my same opinion. And they didn't think Torch was that good. And I remember Hector, me and him were talking, and he didn't think Torch was that good. I'm like, dude, I think you're wrong. Like, I think Torch is really great. And then I remember I was camping, and I was drunk. And Torch's crystals came out. And I remember I was standing in my family's camper looking at these crystals. And I was like, let's go for this. And so I screen recorded and I went for him. And I didn't get him as a 6-star, unfortunately. But I did get him as a 5-star. So I took the 5-star, max ranked him. And then I started churning out videos on him, man. I made like 10 Torch videos. And a bunch of them were like in a row. And my subscribers were starting to get annoyed and mad. And some people even started to unsubscribe. Like, dude, if you keep making Torch, I'm unsubscribing. And it was so funny because I went back on some of those Torch videos just to read the comments. And it's like, oh my god, like those comments aged like milk. Just saying, Torch is not god tier. Like all this stuff. I was in Torch's corner, man, since day one. I've always been in Torch's corner, always been a fan of the champ, always said he's better than what people thought, and people just did not want to believe me until the Abyss came out. Then Abyss came out, and Human Torch was dubbed one of the 4 horsemen alongside Nick Fury, Aegon, and Doctor Doom. And what made Torch a horseman was that he scales ridiculously in longer form content. You know, when you fight a Mystic, every blocked hit, is going to give you a Smolder. And those Smolders can just keep on stacking and stacking and stacking, and it just makes your Incinerates or your Nova Flames that much stronger. So in a place like Abyss, where you can stack up easily 50 plus Smolders in a fight, like, people were starting to see, holy crap, Torch is ridiculous. And, even in short to medium fights, it doesn't matter. As long as you're fighting someone that has energy-based attacks, either on like their special 1 or on their basic combos, doesn't even need to be in the Mystic class. As long as they have energy-based attacks, Torch is going to melt them. Simply put, especially if you apply that flame on. And that's always been my number 1 favorite thing about Torch, because for the longest time, for like 5+ years since Torch came out, not a single champ in the game was immune to Nova Flame. That means he'd work on every single champ in-game if you apply that pre-fight. That is so crazy. That was always the biggest selling point on Torch for me. And, back in the day again, when Torch had come out, Battlegrounds didn't exist. So Torch wasn't even nearly as good as he is now, because you could only use that pre-fight once per quest until it recharges via the SIG. And the SIG is garbage. Human Torch has one of the worst SIG abilities in the game. And then actually at one point, guys, like if you don't believe me what I'm saying, and you'd be like, oh, Lagacy, you're so full of yourself, you just think you're on Team Torch before everyone else. It's like, dude, literally, kabam buffed Human Torch. Like, it wasn't just the community, it was also with the company of the game. Kabam didn't think Torch was good. They buffed him. They literally buffed Human Torch, dude. Like, and I was so happy. I'm like, oh my god, you're buffing Torch? Like, the champ that I've made a bunch of videos on that I love is gonna be better? It was a Christmas present for me, dude, when Torch got buffed. And the buff wasn't like the biggest a deal. I think it just made his heavy temperature charge a little bit better. I don't even know if there's anything else. But the fact doesn't change that he got buffed. So, like, not only the community, but Kabam themselves was sleeping on this dude, which is just pretty insane. Like, I don't think there's another champ that has been released that can say those things, So, yeah, man, that's Human Torch. It was really stupid how Kabam released him, and the whole Wheel of Fate thing. Torch should have just been in that quest, man. Release Wheel of Fate after the Heatwave sale and make them available for free to play. If you do that quest, you can select the Torch. Like, that's what Kabam should have just done. It really bugs me that, you know, my fourth favorite champ in the game is just paywalled, or a colossal unit wall of like 30,000+. Like, man, Kabam stays doing Torch dirty, man. He should have just been in the Wheel of Fate. But I digress. I'm super happy to have Torch. Super happy I took him to rank 4. Zero regrets. And I think he's going to be one of the absolute best champs for the upcoming Battlegrounds meta for this second Brawl season, weeks 3 to 4. I've seen some gameplay of Torch burning serpents like in like 30-40 seconds. Like, it's ridiculous, dude. Torch is that guy. He's always been that guy. People just didn't always know it, but he's always been that guy. And yeah, I'll always love Human Torch, man. Johnny Storm, my guy, my favorite Fantastic Four member for sure. He's just, I was gonna say the hottest champ in the game, but that sounds a little weird, but it's true, temperature-wise. Well, is he hotter than Fisto or Dormammu or Ghost Rider? I don't know. But that's Human Torch at number 4. All right. Going to the number 3 spot, we actually have a non-science champion. We actually have another Mystic. And this is one of the sickest Mystics in the game, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's Symbiote Supreme, dude. So, I remember when Symbiote Supreme got announced. And, because we had Doctor Strange, and there was, like, another Doctor Strange that was, like, data mined in the game files. With like more of like, you know how Doctor Strange has like blue on his suit, like this version of Doctor Strange had like the blue was black, like not a symbiote version or anything, but like he just looked different. It was like, I don't know if it was Doctor Strange Marvel Now or something, but anyways, there's another version of Doctor Strange leaked, data mined in the game files. So then, you know, we're getting this new Doctor Strange character, but it wasn't the one we thought. It's Doctor Strange with the Venom symbiote. So the result of an unholy union between an alternate reality Doctor Strange and a particularly virulent Clintar specimen, entity known as Symbiote Supreme, wields an unnatural power thanks to its mastery of symbiomancy, the ability to summon and control its symbiote through magical means. The Symbiote Supreme finds and bonds with any life form it can, devouring them into its hive mind in order to spread its dark influence across the battle realm. So I don't know if it's actually like the Venom symbiote that like we're all used to with Eddie Brock and Spider-Man, but it's on an alternate reality. It is Doctor Strange. My headcanon is that it is the Venom symbiote, so I'm just gonna stick to that headcanon. But yeah, man, like I remember seeing this guy, I'm like, this is the sickest, the craziest looking champ I've ever laid eyes on. Like, oh my god, he looks phenomenal. And the thing about Symbiote Supreme was, you know, when he came out, I don't think he was regarded as that good. And he really isn't against the bog standard matchup like Winter Soldier. You know, he's not going to look good against a Winter Soldier fight in Realm of Legends, you know. But when you take him against the Cosmic Champs, especially ones with buffs, like, he immediately became, back in the day, one of the best champs. Like, he was so matchup dependent, but in those particular matchups, it was just unreal. Now, one matchup in particular, the fondest memory I have of Symbiote Supreme, well, there's a couple. One of them I remember is like I don't know if it was a 5-star or 6-star feature crystal, had like just came out, and I had a bunch of crystals saved up, and all I wanted was Symbiote Supreme. And I think like the first crystal I got him. The rest of the crystals were garbage. My luck was terrible after that, but I got him. And that's all I cared about. I was so happy I had gotten him. So I remember that. But my favorite thing that I remember about Symbiote Supreme, man, one of my favorite like war moments of all time in this game. So there was this little thing called Node 29 Killmonger. Way back in the day, like 5 years ago. And no, it would have been like 7 years ago. Yeah, we're talking 7 years ago. It was easily regarded as the most difficult fight in war. Like, at that point, like, ever in war. And especially on that war map. So, and this was before, like, war was so different back then. But magic. 5-star magic was the #1 most used option for that fight. You know, basically just lock him down, power control him, and you're chilling. So that's what most people would do, but like if you slip up, if you make a mistake with magic, you could die. You know, like it wasn't the safest of fights, but it was like pretty much the best matchup known at that time. And then I came around, and I thought for a second, hey, if magic can do no 29 Killmonger, what about my favorite Mystic champ, Symbiote Supreme? Because Symbiote Supreme has Armor Break for one, which would turn off Killmonger's Reverberation. So I was like, okay, that could really be nice. Then Symbiote Supreme also has Power Steal. Oh, okay, Killmonger can get a lot of power, especially on that no 29, so that could be really good. So I tried him there, and I used an invulnerability boost just in case he went to Special 3, and Symbiote Supreme literally dog walked the fight. Like, I ate a Special 3, invulned it, it's fine, and just dog walked him. Like, it wasn't even a challenge. It was so easy, and then I started doing that fight every war with Sim Supreme, and I repeated it every single time. Never died with Sim Supreme. Like, it was so safe, especially with an invulnerability boost. Even without the invulnerability boost, as long as you got the armor phase up, you know, which you have all your blessings after Special 3, like, you can only take a certain amount of damage, even from an opponent's Special 3. The max was like 15%. So even without an invulnerability boost, it was still super duper safe. Like, it was insane. But then, unfortunately, like, I didn't figure that matchup out until like towards the end of that war map, and then the war map got changed. Then we didn't see any more no 29 Killmongers. I wish I had figured and found it sooner, but man, like after I did it once, I just signed it like every war. I did it every war because it was just so free. It was so free, dude, and that was the power of Symbiote Supreme. I also remember just taking a ton of boss fights with him, because on the old boss node in War, it had this adaptive node where it would switch between giving them physical resist buffs and energy resist buffs. So the more buffs, Symbiote Supreme would just eat those buffs and just Special 3, Special 2 spam, and they're just dead. Especially if you have like Mystic Power Back boost. Like, it was just so insane, man. And then what happened with Sim Supreme is I was asked to make a we're doing a boss rush. So Kabam asked me to, you know, basically make a boss. And so I had chosen Sim Supreme as my defender because I liked him so much, you know? And the nodes that I originally wanted to do, Kabam couldn't make happen. So I got Sim Supreme, but the fight was not how I envisioned it. So there was different nodes. So the fight was a lot different, but they did what they could, you know? So it was still my fight, but it was a little bit differently than what I had initially intended. And like Thing was a great counter to the fight. Human Torch was the best counter to the fight. Like, it was just free. Thing was good because he couldn't be nullified. So Thing and Torch were great counters. There was other counters too, but that quest went live, and I started getting so much hate for that fight. I was literally getting death threats about a fight that I had helped make in game. It was ridiculous, dude. Like, people, I remember, I bet you I could still find the screenshots dug up of some of those comments. Like, it was, oh man, it was ridiculous. So yeah, lots of interesting, weird, fun memories I have with Symbiote Supreme, dude. And the great thing about him is, like, he's made a bit of a resurgence lately for me. Not so much lately, but like a few months back, you know, like I got him, took him to rank 3. I originally unduped, and I started getting assigned serpents in War, and like he was just cooking all the serpents for me. It was fantastic. Like, I was taking serpent on any node on the map. It doesn't matter if it was hazard shift, doesn't matter. It didn't matter what it was. Symbiote Supreme could do it. Because that's the power of Sim Supreme, man. Like, even years later, the most overtuned Cosmic Champion we've ever seen that somehow did not get rebalanced. Oh, Sim Supreme cooks him on any node on the war map, and Sim Supreme started getting banned all the time. Like, that's insane for a champ this old. When did he come out? He came out in 2018. So a 7-year-old champ, dude, like, still being so relevant today. That's a feat. Hey man, that is Sim Supreme, my 3rd favorite champ of all time in Marvel Contest of Champions. Alright guys, there's only 2 champs left, and I feel like you guys probably know what they are if you follow the channel, you know. And we have another science champ, surprise, surprise, and that is the spots, bro. The Spoticus, the GOAT. Just, oh, man. There is not a champion that I like to play in the game more than Spot. He has my absolute favorite playstyle in the game because it's so unique. There's no champ in the game that flows and plays like Spot does, because you want to actually hold block and get them to hit your block. That is like unheard of when it comes to this game, but it makes so much sense for Spot. Like, I think the designers just did such a phenomenal job with him. The art team did such a good job. He looks so cool in game, man. I love it. On PC though, you can kind of see his invisible legs here, like right there. You see that line right there? Those are his legs. That's his butt. That's his invisible butt. But anyways, man, like I love Spot so much, dude. I love him so freaking much. I could play him all day long and never get bored. You know, and the really cool thing is Spot has been buffed twice, technically, recently, just by what Kabam has been doing with the rest of the game. So one of the first things that they did was they nerfed block penetration here on the stat focus. And that's what most people put on all of their defenders. You know, that's what I put on the bulk of my defenders. It's smart too. And so, you know, I'm always encountering that in Battlegrounds. And when you have Spot, a champ who wants to block, you know, that block penetration can hurt. So the fact that Kabam lowered that's a buff to Spot in and of itself. And then what Kabam also decided to do was make a bunch of new relics, and one of them being a Captain America Infinity War relic, boosting block proficiency quite high. So yeah, man, Spot has only been getting better, technically speaking, and in my eyes I've actually only become a better Spot player. So here's a fun fact. In the last season of Battlegrounds, the Brawl season, one of the most competitive seasons to date, you know, here's where I am on the leaderboard. I was the one and only person who even used Spot in the top 20. Just me. No one else had Spot in their decks, just me. And guess what? He was doing a phenomenal job. But that is really, I think, what made me a much better Spot player, because I couldn't just play Spot standardly, you know. I had to really work with the nodes, especially the ebb and flow, or not ebb and flow, but just the protection and the knockdown. So like I learned a new strategy with Spot where I would build to like 4 of my spots, and then I would re-parry with him, go for the heavy, get the protection down, then still be super close to entering untouchable, then just hold block again, and I would also consume this damage with the Sig, so I get a nice little bit of damage burst, and then they would attack my block again, go into untouchable, combo, special 2, and they're dead. So I found some new pro strats with Spot in that meta, like started to master him in different ways. Like, oh man, I love Spot so much. Anytime a new defender comes out, and here's a prime example, Arnim Zola. Arnim Zola came out, and I figured out that Spot was a great counter to him. That made me so happy. It just made me so happy that a new meta defender Spot can absolutely cook. I keep hoping and praying for more meta defenders that Spot can be used against, dude. And when a champ, that's literally like one of the first, like when High Evolutionary came out, I'm thinking, okay, Spot's looking pretty good here. It'll be easy to alternate my combos while untouchable, like auto block is fine. But then they gave him Rupture immunity. I was like, no, I can't use Spot form now. Like that low key pissed me off. But yeah, dude, I love Spot so much. He's such an insane nuke. I think he's so underrated. I got assigned one Arnim Zola boss the last season, and Spot did it in like a minute 15 seconds or something. A rank 4 Arnim Zola boss. I did like an 800,000 special 2. Like, it was just peak spottage. Yeah, I love Spot. Love freaking Spot so much. Second favorite champ in the game, without a shadow of a doubt. If it wasn't for this #1 champ, you know, he would easily be #1. But the #1, the god, the king, the goat cannot be dethroned, and that is Stark Spidey. Why can he not be dethroned? There is one very simple reason. I'm here right in front of you today because of this champion. If not for this champion, I cannot guarantee that I would be here making this video today, or even being on YouTube still to this day. You know, all these years later. Stark Spidey came out in 2017. That is 8 years ago. If not for this champ, I don't know if I'd still be playing. So why? Why is that? Well, man, I have so many stories, so many memories with this champ. Like, it's just too many to count. But the first, foremost, and biggest one is that pulling Stark Spidey as a 5-star champion. Actually, let's go to the 5-star, because this 5-star, that's my favorite version of Stark Spidey. Actually, is the 5-star. Also, why I have him in my challenge for the 5-star. But yeah, it was 5-star Stark Spidey. So let's go back in time to 2017. Iceman, Archangel, and Psylocke had come out, and at that time there was massive debates in the community over who's better, Iceman or Archangel, which is kind of crazy to think today. Like, it's very clear cut today, but back in the day it was not so clear cut, and the game was completely different. The entire roster of the game was completely different. There was bleed immunity and poison immunity was a lot more common back then, because those were the starting 2 immunities. They didn't have shock immunity for the longest time. They didn't have incinerate immunity for the longest time. Bleed and poison were bog standard. So Archangel wasn't as useful as he is today, actually, I would say. So, that gave Iceman some more power. And so I had been saving all my 5-star shards for Iceman. The way it worked is when a champion would come out, they would have their featured crystal. The drop rates were unknown, but it was roughly 20 to 25% chance to pull the one featured champion in that crystal. Okay? So that crystal would come out once when they came out, and then it would return 3 months later for another chance. So what you could do, a champ would come out, you like them, okay, I'm going to start saving my shards for 3 months, then 3 months later, boom, I can get them, or have a chance to get them, right? And also, at one point, the 5-star crystal only had, I think it was 16 champs or something. And so for the longest time, a new champ would come out, their feature crystal would be there, it would come back 3 months later, and then that was it. There was not ever again another chance to pull that champion for the longest time. It was super weird. But then eventually, they started adding all the champs to the 5-star pool and all that, but not without first trying to make some offers to get people to spend a bunch of money to get the champs, and then they announced that they're going to be adding them to the 5-star pool. So they made some really shady and scummy deals, man, back then, trying to sell people these champs that were supposedly, you're not going to have another chance of getting, and then they started adding them to the 5-star crystal. There's just a little bit of Kabam shade story thrown in here. Dude, Kabam used to be so much worse, so much shadier than they are today, man. Kabam today, I'll take Kabam today over Kabam in 2017 any day of the week, bro. Or 2016 Kabam, oh, not even close. You guys have no idea if you weren't around 2015, 2016, 2017. Kabam, man, oh, it was so much worse than it is now. But anyways, where was I going? Okay, so I had saved my shards for Iceman, right? So I had 60 to 75,000 shards. So that's anywhere from 4 to 5-star featured crystals, right? So same for Iceman. I'm feeling good. I feel like I have a great chance of getting him. His crystal hadn't even returned yet, and I already had a lot of shards. But then Spider-Man Homecoming, the movie, is coming out. Spider-Man and Vulture. So they get added to the game. And I remember watching in a line chat, someone got Stark Spidey, and they were fighting Labyrinth Red Hulk, and he was just critting so hard. I was like, oh my god. And I remember watching that. I remember he was against the wall, dashing back, building poise. And watching that, I'm like, holy crap, this guy looks really good. Spider-Man's my favorite character. I really wanted Iceman, though. But I made the executive decision to go for Stark Spidey. So at this time, my YouTube channel had around 400 subscribers, to put this into perspective. Okay, so I record my video, I open up, I think it was 4 or 5 of these featured crystals for Stark Spidey, and I remember I got an Iron Patriot on one of them, and I let out an F-bomb, I'm pretty sure. I did not want to see Iron Patriot, but I pulled Stark Spidey. I think I got him on the second, I think the first crystal was Iron Patriot, and then the second crystal was Spidey or something like that. But I got him. I got him in that video, and so again, 400 subscribers on the channel. The video does 30,000 views. 30,000 views. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers when I upload the video. I remember I was camping, and I was looking, I'm like, oh my god, this video's what? I was flabbergasted. And what also had happened was because that video was so popular, it was attracting a lot of traffic to my channel, and people started to hit the subscribe button. So, like, almost overnight, it was over the course of a week, but it felt like overnight, my channel, like, more than doubled in subscribers, and all of a sudden, I was over 1,000. So what happens back then when you reach over 1,000 subscribers? You were eligible for monetization. I might have even been eligible a bit before. Like, in my mind, it was you needed 1,000 subscribers for monetization. So, like, the moment I hit 1,000, I was like, oh my god, like I could actually maybe somehow turn this into a job. So this was the summer of 2017. I graduated high school in 2017. So, like, I just finished grade 12. And I hated school, man. I hated school so much. The one thing I really do miss about school is just seeing my friends every day. I really didn't realize how much I was taking that for granted. But I like being in the classroom, like teachers trying to get me to learn their way. Like, I just hated it, bro. Like, I just freaking I could not wait to get out of school every day. Just could not wait. In grade 12, I had a bunch of spares. So, like, I would go home at, like, lunchtime. I made my schedule that way, so and I graduated no problem at all. I just skated by, dude. Like, I did not really care. I just did the bare minimum, got through high school with enough credits to pass. Boom, done. I didn't want to do school anymore. So my parents, like, after I graduated, like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm taking a year off. Like, I've been in school for 13 years of my life, my entire life. Like, I am done. I have earned a break. So I was taking a year off. And then my channel all of a sudden hits 1,000 subscribers. And then I applied for monetization. I got it. And, I just kept making videos from that point on. And then let's fast forward. So that was like June, July of 2017. Now fast forward to like end of August, and Comic-Con gets announced. So I'd watched Brian Grant's video, and so he went to Comic-Con, and he was like FaceTiming Seaton, so like to show Seaton around Comic-Con. And I remember watching that video, and I'm like, this looks so cool. Like, talking to people in real life about the game, and like a whole convention, and like a prize wheel. Like, it was the coolest thing, man. I really, really, really wanted to go. So my channel at this time, I think, was around like 2,000 subscribers, 2,300-ish range. And so, like, looking at passes for Comic-Con, they're so expensive. Like, I did not have the money to buy a 4-day pass. There's no way, It's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But since I had a channel, I was like, maybe I can apply for a press pass, a press badge. So I tried that. And of course, I got declined. My channel's way too small, But had I not tried, I never would have went to Comic-Con. Because I tried to apply for that press pass, I got declined. But they said, sorry, you don't apply for this press badge, but you could try to apply for a pro badge. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I was like, oh, okay, well, let's try that. So then I applied for a pro badge. Now, the press badge is a 4-day pass completely free. The pro badge is a 4-day pass, but you gotta pay. But it's only like $80. That's not bad. Opposed to like $500-600 to go for 4 days. So I applied for this pro badge. I got accepted. It's like, holy crap. Okay, but then there was the next step, the even more difficult step than that, and that was to convince my parents to let me go. Because after I had graduated high school, my birthday is October 29th. So I was 17 years old. So I was 17 years old trying to go to New York to go to Comic-Con. And my parents were like, no way. Like, no, you're not going. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm graduated high school. Like, people my age are already 18 years old, which in Canada, Alberta, where I live, the moment you turn 18, bro, you are a full-fledged adult. You can drink, you can gamble, you can smoke, you can do whatever you want. It's 18. There's no 21 BS here. No, none of that. It's 18. 18 is the magic number. You're good once you turn 18. But I was 17. So technically, and I'm living with my parents, so technically, like, I'm not an adult at this point, But people that I graduated with, their birthdays were earlier in the year, they're 18. I'm like, listen, like, this is not fair. Like, I graduated high school. It's not my fault I was born in October. Like, that was my argument, That's my logical argument I was approaching with. And I got my parents down to, like, my mom would come with me. And I'm like, Mom, like this is something I need to do on my own, you know? And so the way I ended up finally convincing my parents to let me go was I was staying with a friend named Vex, who I had only known for a few months. And like I had like made a joke about like staying with him in New York or something. And he was like, yeah, dude, come through. And I totally said it jokingly, but he was being serious. I was like, wait, like for real? And so he was actually at the time like a bodyguard in like a higher end store for like jewelry or perfume or something. So telling my parents that I would be staying with a bodyguard, that was the key. So that was the final piece of the argument that finally won it for me, convinced them to let me go. So boom, the stars were aligned. I was able to go to Comic-Con. I paid for my pro badge, like $80, not the biggest deal. And then the biggest thing was going to be paying for a flight. But now that I am staying with a friend, I don't have to get like a hotel. So that's a big money saver. So all I really had to buy was the pro badge and my flight. So the flight was probably like $300-400 or something. But I had been working part-time since I was 15 at a grocery store. So, you know, I did have a little bit of money built up, you know, so I was able to purchase the flight and go. My parents didn't pay for anything. I paid for everything myself. So, boom, go to New York by myself, the Big Apple, as a 17-year-old young lad. And I had 3 goals in mind going to this Comic-Con event. So I'll go through all three of these goals with you guys. So the biggest one, or the biggest thing, was actually after I was already going. Like I had convinced my parents, I had the pro badge. Then Kabam made an announcement that there was actually going to be a tournament at New York Comic Con. Now I had wanted to go before that, but I was like, a tournament? Dude, I remember recording a video and I remember saying like, guys, like I am going to try my best to bring it home for the channel, for us, for you guys. I remember saying that in a video, like I'm going to try my best. And at that time, like I really didn't think I had that good of a chance at winning, and no one thought I had a good chance of winning. The entire community was saying some merc is going to end up going and winning it. That was the most popular belief of what was going to happen. So I had 3 goals in mind going to New York. So the first one is just to do good in the tournament. If I can do good in the tournament, especially win, that would be insane. You know, that would be best case scenario. So that I just want to do good in the tournament. So that's one. Number 2, and like ideally like win one of the days. There was 3 days of like daily qualifiers and then the final. So I just wanted to win a daily qualifier. That was the big goal, you know, to at least win one of those. So the second goal was to meet my idols, my heroes, the other YouTubers, Brian, Seaton, Dorky Diggity Dave. You know, I wanted to meet all those guys. So that was the second base thing, kind of, and also the third base is like networking, like meet them, ideally become friends with them. You know, try to be cool, try to hold in the inner fanboy and, you know, not go crazy, and just try to become peers with them. That would be insane. You know, that's what I was hoping for. And then the third thing was to meet Kabam and, you know, ideally get into their good graces. You know, just kind of, and I think the CCP program like was in very early stages at that time. There was not that many people in it. Like Seaton was in it, Brian Grant was in it, Resident was in it. But not too much more. And so Brian at that event actually talked to Kabam Adora at the time, who's in charge of the program, and kind of put in a good word for me. So that was the goals with Comic-Con, man. And so the very first day of Comic-Con, the boss was a Mephisto. So basically you stand in line and you go fight Mephisto, and whoever has the highest time, I think it was just time, whoever had the fastest kill on him, there's a leaderboard. So I wasn't on the leaderboard, and I was in line, and they're like, okay, no more people getting in line. Whoever's in line right now, you get one more chance, and then we're shutting it down. So like, okay, I got one more chance. So I go, I'm like one of the last people. I fight Mephisto, and I use Stark Spidey. You know, Stark Spidey's not Incinerate immune, so most people weren't using him for Mephisto. But I used Stark Spidey, my guy, my goat, the guy who got me monetized on YouTube. I used him, and I had an unreal fight. And I ended up, like, tying the #1 time on the leaderboard. Last final run, last possible run. I was like, oh my god, okay. So boom, now I'm in for the daily tournament. So the daily tournament comes around, and it's a Maestro boss. And so people are using a tech champion, but it's not Stark Spidey. It was the best, most highly regarded tech champion at that time, and that was Star-Lord. everyone had used Star-Lord for Labyrinth at that time. He was just OP. You build his combo, you do a buttload of damage. So, like, most people on that daily tournament were using Star-Lord. One person tried Stark Spidey that went before me, and it went terribly. It didn't go very well, but the guy didn't really build poise at the start of the fight. So, I remember talking to Brian, like, backstage, and I'm like, dude, I don't know who I should use. Should I use Star-Lord, or should I use Stark Spidey? Like, someone tried Stark Spidey, it's not working. Like, Star-Lord is holding the top time. I remember there's this guy named, I think it was Dead Moth, and he actually was a merc. So he had to put up the best time with Star-Lord. It was like 58 seconds or something like that, or like a minute, 8 seconds or something like that with Star-Lord. And I'm like Brian, like, I think I have to use Star-Lord. Like, that's the top time. And I remember Brian telling me, he's like, he kind of convinced me to use Stark Spidey. He didn't, like, tell me to, but, like, he's like, dude, you got to go with what you think's right. Like, what's in your gut, And I'm like, okay, I think I have to go Stark Spidey then. Like, he put me on the map when it comes to YouTube. He got me into this tournament, like, against Mephisto. Like, yeah, I got to use Spidey. So I went with Stark Spidey. And I still vividly remember building up poise at the start of the fight. And the announcers, like, were from Marvel. Like, Marvel, not Marvel Concept Champions. So they had no idea, bro. They had no idea. Like, they're commentating and they don't understand the game at all. And I remember them saying, like, he's dashing, he's not attacking, he's wasting time, like, what is he doing, like, all this stuff. And I'm in my head, I'm like, yo, shut the hell up, I'm trying to focus. Like, oh my god, be quiet. In my head, I'm trying to focus. I'm on stage in front of everyone. I'm 17 years old. I'm so nervous, and, like, the announcer's talking crap. I'm like, oh my god, dude, like, trying to just hold it together. And I build my poise, and I start attacking, and I am hitting so hard. I am hitting stupidly hard. I wasted a lot of time building that poise, but then I just nuked the fight, dropped the special 2, and I ended up beating Dead Moth by, like, 2 or 3 seconds. Like, or like 3 to 4 seconds. Like, it was so close. And then there was one guy that went after me, and then he also used Stark Spidey, but he didn't end up beating my time. So I ended up winning day 1 of the tournament with Stark Spidey, man. And, like, that is probably my favorite moment ever when it comes to this game. Like, one of my best memories ever. That was one of the, like, the best trips of my life. Like, all 3 of my goals, my objectives were met. Like, I became friends with the other YouTubers. They were all so nice to me in person. It was amazing. Kabam was super nice to me. They also, like, started to get a liking for me. Winning the tournament definitely helped. Winning day 1 got me into the finals, and in the finals, I did end up winning that as well. Honestly, the finals win, like, wasn't nearly as hyped for me as the daily win was. Like, the daily win was just such a massive W for me. And yeah, and, like, Seaton made a video on me winning, like, the daily competition, the first one, and that video got, like, hundreds of thousands of views. And so what ended up happening was my channel, like, I went to Comic-Con with probably 2,500 subscribers or something like that, and I remember leaving New York with well over 5K. So, like, truly, this champion alone put me on the map in the community on YouTube. Like, Stark Spidey alone has grown my channel exponentially, dude. And, like, there's been so much lore after that now with Stark Spidey 2. I was able to get him into the game, actually, as a 7-star via my challenge using the 5-star Stark Spidey. You can pick between, mcoc, Stark Spidey, or Spidey 99. With me, Karate Mike, and Fintech. And I remember, like, they had approached us to make these challenges. And I remember asking, like, for my reward, like, could it be a champion? Like, I'm the one who even posed that idea for these challenges. That was not a thing originally. And then when Finn and Karate Mike found out, like, I was selecting a champ, they're like, wait, can we select champs too? And Finn at first suggested Tigra, and Karate Mike at first suggested Zemo. Both of which are going to be 7 stars now. Tiger already is, Zemo's about to be. But back then, they were like, no. Tiger and Zemo, too powerful. But Stark Spidey got the thumbs up somehow. I don't know how that happened. But he got the thumbs up. And, dude, then Stark Spidey came out as a 7-star. And he immediately became one of the best champs in the game for Battlegrounds in 2024. And still 2025. He's still easily one of the best Battleground champions, best attackers in the game. For a champ that came out so long ago, a champ that is such a special place in my heart, for him to be so good in my favorite game mode, it's awesome, dude. It's freaking awesome, man. So that for all those reasons and so much more stuff that I didn't even mention, that is why Stark Spidey is my all-time and always will be #1 favorite champion in the game. He cannot be dethroned. There is no other champ that can do for me what he did. You know, it's just as simple as that. As much as I love Spot, Stark Spidey will always have that first place in my heart, dude. Because I wouldn't be here. This champion completely changed the course of my life, like, which is ridiculous to think about. You know, like, I don't know where I'd be if not for this champ. So, yeah, man, that is the #1 favorite champ all time in Marvel Contest of Champions. Oh, Spidey, I love you so much. And he also got buffed too with these new relics. He's even stronger now with this Prowler relic. He's hitting even harder, so that's cool too. Stark, Spidey, and Spot just getting buffed. You know, that's really cool. My favorite champs. So yeah, guys, that is it. That's the top 10 favorite champs in Marvel Contest of Champions. I'm gonna go over just a couple more champs that I am really liking right now. So, some other honorable mentions. You know, I am liking Yelena as a defender. I like fighting her, actually. I enjoy fighting her. Sinister. I like Sinister a lot, man, after his buff. Great champ. Cull Obsidian. Loving this dude after his buff, dude. Really excited for that next meta to start going crazy with him. Jean Grey. Bro, Jean is so phenomenal. And I really do like her. But yeah, she didn't crack the top 10 list. But yeah, love Jean. Werewolf. Dude, Werewolf is just a ton of fun. Great champ. Really liking Zola. He's pretty new and fun. Jugs. The Jugs buff was awesome. Jugs is finally comic book accurate. Black Cat. She got a lot better. We talked about her a little earlier in the video when we were talking about Scorpion. And she's definitely grown on me even more. I like Black Cat. I wish she was just a little bit more useful in more areas of the game. Like, I struggle to usually find a good time to use her. I just wish I do like her. When I can get to use her, she's so much fun. Fam, great tech champ. Really love Fam. And then, oh yeah, Maestro's a good one, dude. Maestro's honestly could have made the list just because, like, again, during Comic-Con, I was fighting Maestro. Not this Maestro, like the story abilities Maestro, but just, I really love Maestro. He's my favorite, like, big boss, shadowy figure, you know, in the back of the game, you know, kind of like running the contest. Like, we've had Collector, Grandmaster. I don't know if Thanos or Kang have really been in charge, but, you know, they kind of count. We've had Karina, but it's Maestro for me, dude. Like, they kept him so well hidden at the start of the game. Again, I read all the dialogue, and then finally getting to see him, like, Maestro's so cool, bro. I'll always have a special place in my heart for Maestro, too. Wish he was a little bit better of an attacker and a little bit better of a defender, but I'm just glad to have a playable version of him. Oh yeah, and then Gallon. Gallon didn't make the list, surprisingly. I really don't like Gallon nearly as much as I did at one point. I don't know why. I still like him a lot, but I don't know. I don't know. Some champs you just kind of fall out of love with a little bit, and that happens. Oh, gotta give a shout out to iBomb. Brian Grant helped make this guy. That's cool. And yeah, I think, oh, here's another one. Ultron, dude. Ultron. This Ultron specifically, I love the look of him. We're gonna get him when we turn level 70, or no, level 65, I think. Is it, or is it 70? Oh yeah, it's not till 70. But we're gonna get him as a 7-star, level 70. I'm really hoping he gets a buff and his abilities get changed. That would be awesome. Oh, we're also getting a mastery point. That's cool. But yeah, dude, I would love for him to get a crazy buff. Love to see it. Like, Ultron was the prize champ in Labyrinth of Legends as a 5-star. I love that concept. I think it's so freaking cool. Having a champ that the only way to get them is to do the content. I love it. He needs a crazy buff. Alright guys, that is enough talking. We're over, oh my god, we're way over an hour. Holy crap. I thought this video was going to be like 20-30 minutes. Well, Hope you guys enjoyed all the story times today. I'm going to make sure to have timestamps all throughout the video so, you know, you can navigate, pick it up. You don't have to watch all this in one sitting. You know, if you want to come back another time or something, I'll be sure to add those timestamps for you guys. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much just for everything on this crazy journey, man. Almost at 9 years playing the game. And, you know, the night I downloaded it, I could have never even dreamed or imagined it would turn into what it has now. And it's all thanks to you guys. Partially to Stark Spidey, but mainly to you guys. So, truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the memories you guys have given me in this game, all the good times, and here's to hopefully many, many, many more. Hope you guys all have a great, wonderful day. Please drop me at least your top 5 favorite champs. I would love to know who's your guys' favorites. Let me know, and let me know what you guys think of my list, and which story was your favorite. I would love to know. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great, wonderful, blessed day. Peace out.